Today, we're all about Tokyo, but more specifically, we're zeroing in on the amazing food scene you can find in Shibuya.
Yeah, it's going to be delicious. And you've given us a great set of resources to work with here. We've got these lists of must-try dishes, some really detailed Tokyo itineraries, really a good spread to dive into.
Yeah, for sure. And for anyone listening who wants to, really get a grip on what Shibuya's food scene is all about without feeling totally overwhelmed,
Mm.
where do I even begin? That's our mission today. We want to make sure you walk away knowing about the real, unique Tokyo flavors, the dishes you absolutely can't miss, and some smart ways to make the most of your time there. So yeah, basically get you excited to actually go experience it all for yourself.
Think of this as like your culinary roadmap to Shibuya. We're going to unpack the shoe variety you find there, those quintessential Tokyo dishes that just scream, you got to try this. And then offer some practical tips and tricks to make sure your food journey is as smooth and delicious as possible.
Okay, so Shibuya. I think most people probably picture that crazy scramble crossing, right? Like just a sea of people.
Right.
But there's so much more to it than that, isn't there? When it comes to food, it's like a central hub for experiencing all the different things Tokyo has to offer.
It is. That crossing is a powerful image. It captures Shibuya's energy perfectly, and that energy extends to its food scene. You get a sense of all these different trends and influences coming together.
And the areas around it really feed into that too. Like
Oh,
you've got Harajuku right there, which is all about fashion and youth culture. Got to have some pretty cool food options.
Oh,
Huh?
yeah, totally. Harajuku is known for pushing boundaries, and that unconventional vibe directly influences the kind of food you'll find in the area. You think of places like Shibuya 109, that department store that's so popular with younger crowds, and the food around there reflects those changing tastes.
Or you can even walk over to Takeshita Street in Harajuku, right?
Ah.
Which I've heard is like street food heaven. So it's all incredibly accessible from Shibuya.
Exactly. Takeshita Street is a fantastic place to sample those more visually striking and maybe even a little quirky kind of snacks that have become so popular in Tokyo. And then, you've got Omotesando going in the other direction. Upscale boutiques, more of a refined atmosphere. So you get this mix of casual and elegant dining options, all within easy reach when you're in Shibuya. It's a real melting pot.
So Shibuya is not just a place to pass through. It's like this destination for all these different food experiences. Now, when we think about Tokyo as a whole, there are certain dishes that just feel like essential, that you have to try this kind of food. What are some of those iconic dishes that really define Tokyo's food scene and that someone visiting Shibuya is likely to come across?
The sheer number of dishes that are kind of synonymous with Tokyo is amazing. Sushi and sashimi are definitely at the top of the list. Tokyo is a true sushi paradise. Everything from like traditional nigiri, where the focus is on the freshest seasonal fish, to more modern, creative sushi that you wouldn't find anywhere else. Honestly, you could spend your whole trip exploring different sushi experiences and never get bored.
I hear you. Going to Tokyo and not having sushi is like, I don't know, going to Rome and not seeing the Colosseum. Speaking of iconic, what about ramen? That's a huge part of Japanese food culture, right?
It really is. Tokyo's ramen scene is so diverse. You've got the rich, almost creamy tonkotsu broth, which is simmered for hours. And then you have lighter broths like shoyu ramen, where the quality of the soy sauce really shines. And then there's miso ramen, shio ramen. I mean, each style is so unique. Even within Shibuya, you'll find ramen shops that specialize in regional varieties. It's a whole world to explore.
Okay, so we've got the essential sushi with all its variations, and then the comforting, customizable world of ramen. What else is on that must-try list when you're in Tokyo?
Let's see. There's tempura, which is more than just deep-fried food. It's an art form, really. The chefs aim for that perfect balance of a light, crispy batter and perfectly cooked seafood or vegetables. It's all about seasonality, too, the freshest ingredients. And then you've got tonkatsu, which is this, incredibly satisfying, crispy pork cutlet. It's breaded, deep-fried, and often served with shredded cabbage for some nice texture contrast. It's a classic for a reason.
Oh, tonkatsu. That sounds like the perfect fuel after a busy day of exploring. And I've heard about okonomiyaki, that savory pancake that seems to be different everywhere you go in Japan. What's the Tokyo version like?
Okonomiyaki is a fun one. It's like a savory pancake that's cooked right in front of you on a griddle, and you can choose all sorts of fillings. Cabbage is usually the base, but then you can add things like pork, seafood, cheese, yam, tons of options. It's a very communal, casual way to enjoy a meal.
That sounds delicious and very customizable, which I love. Speaking of casual, what about yakitori? Those grilled chicken skewers, are they a big thing in Tokyo, too?
Absolutely. Yakitori is a street food staple, and it's also super popular at izakayas, which are like Japanese pubs where you can get drinks and small plates. You'll find all different cuts of chicken grilled over charcoal and often brushed with these amazing savory sauces and seasonings. Perfect for a quick bite or to enjoy with some drinks at the end of the day.
Okay, so we've got those. Now, for something a little more portable, you've got onigiri, which are those rice balls, right? I feel like those are a classic for a reason.
They are. Onigiri are deceivingly simple. They're rice balls, but they're usually filled with these savory ingredients like pickled plum, which is called umeboshi, or maybe grilled salmon or seasoned tuna. They're super convenient. You can grab them at a convenience store, a specialty shop, perfect for a quick snack, or even a light meal when you're on the go.
And, of course, we can't forget about noodles. We have to talk about soba and udon.
Yeah.
What makes those stand out in Tokyo?
You got it. Soba are thin buckwheat noodles, and udon are thicker, chewier wheat flour noodles. Both are super popular in Tokyo, and you can have them in so many different ways. You can have them hot in a flavorful broth with toppings, or cold with a dipping sauce. In Tokyo, you'll find these traditional soba shops that have been around for ages, as well as more modern udon restaurants that are doing some really interesting things with broths and ingredients. It's a whole other dimension of Tokyo cuisine.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Sushi, ramen, tempura, tonkatsu, onigiri, soba, udon. Wow. But you also specifically mentioned gukatsu, which is breaded and fried beef cutlet. And you said that while it didn't actually originate in Tokyo, it's become hugely popular there, with a really famous spot, Gukatsu Motomura, that even has a location in Harajuku, which is super convenient to Shibuya. And you said it's consistently rated really highly. What makes it so special?
Gukatsu Motomura is interesting. It's not just about the dish itself, but the way they prepare and serve it. You usually get the gukatsu rare in the center, and then you get this little personal grill at your table so you can cook it to your liking. So it's interactive. And the beef is high quality. The breading is super crispy. It's a unique, memorable dining experience. The high ratings are a testament to that. Definitely a modern Tokyo dish worth trying.
Okay, so with all these incredible Tokyo dishes in mind, if someone's got limited time and they're sticking to Shibuya, what would you say are like the top 5 dishes they absolutely cannot miss to really get a taste of Shibuya and Tokyo?
Yeah.
Keeping in mind what's likely to be popular and easy to find in that area.
Let's see. If we think about Shibuya's energy and, what you can realistically experience in a short time, based on those must-try Tokyo dishes, I'd say this is a good starting point. First, ramen. You can't go wrong with ramen in Tokyo. There are so many ramen shops in Shibuya, all with their own specialties, so you're guaranteed to find an amazing bowl.
Definitely agree with you there. What's next? What else has to be on that list?
Second, sushi and sashimi. While you could always make a trip to the famous Tsukiji outer market, Shibuya itself has some excellent sushi options. You can find conveyor belt sushi for a quick and affordable meal, or you can go to a more traditional restaurant for a more refined experience. There's something for everyone.
Yeah, no trip to Tokyo, or even Shibuya for that matter, is complete without some sushi. What about number 3?
If you want to experience the street food scene and get a feel for that izakaya vibe, I'd say yakitori is a must. It's everywhere in Shibuya, super flavorful, and it gives you a glimpse into everyday Tokyo dining. People gathering after work, enjoying these delicious skewers with some drinks.
Love it. Yakitori is always a good choice.
Oh, sir.
What's our number 4 then on the Shibuya must-try list?
Given how popular it is and how easy it is to get to a really good gukatsu place in Harajuku, I'd include tonkatsu. Or gyukatsu if you want to try that variation. It's just so satisfying. A classic Japanese comfort food that you'll find everywhere.
Awesome. So we've got ramen, sushi, yakitori, and tonkatsu or gyukatsu. What rounds out our top 5?
For something quick, convenient, and very local, I'd say onigiri. They're so easy to find. You can grab them at any convenience store, and they give you a taste of what everyday Japanese people eat.
That's a great mix of different experiences, from sit-down meals to street food to on-the-go snacks. But yeah, you're right. This is just a starting point. I'm sure there's so much more to discover in Shibuya.
Oh, yeah, for sure. These 5 dishes will give you a solid foundation, but there are countless other culinary adventures waiting to be had in Shibuya. Trendy cafes, unique desserts, international cuisine, it's all there. It's a foodie's paradise, really.
Speaking of navigating this paradise, for someone going to Tokyo for the very first time, are there any etiquette tips they should keep in mind, especially in a bustling area like Shibuya, just to make sure things go smoothly?
That's a great point. While the resources you shared don't go super deep on etiquette, we can offer some practical advice based on what we know about Tokyo and Shibuya in particular. One thing to keep in mind is that popular spots, like the Gyukatsu Motomura we talked about, can get busy.
Hmm.
So if you want to avoid waiting in long lines, consider going during off-peak hours, like a little earlier or later for lunch or dinner.
Smart. Avoid the crowds and have a more relaxed experience.
Exactly. Also, Tokyo is a densely populated city, so be prepared for smaller dining spaces, especially in those more traditional local eateries.
Hmm.
It's not uncommon to find places with like limited seating, so just being mindful of space, maybe not lingering too long after you finish your meal can be appreciated, especially when it's busy.
Definitely good advice. Anything else a first-timer should be aware of?
Since Shibuya is so energetic and fast-paced, ordering efficiently can be helpful. Have an idea of what you want to order relatively quickly so you're not holding up the line. And lastly, it's pretty common in many casual eateries in Tokyo, including some in Shibuya, to pay at the counter by the entrance instead of at your table. Just something to be aware of.
Okay, awesome. Those are some super helpful tips. Now let's talk about making the most of your time in Shibuya, because I'm guessing a lot of people visiting Tokyo might only have a few hours to really explore. What's a good way to combine sightseeing and food efficiently? Like, where should people start?
If you want to maximize your time, I'd say start at the Shibuya Scramble Crossing. Soak in the energy, take some pictures. From there, because it's so close, it's easy to transition into exploring Harajuku. You could head down Takeshita Street for some unique street food. Those colorful crepes are a must-try. And then maybe stroll along Omatesando, check out the shops, and grab a coffee or a pastry at one of the stylish cafes there. It's a nice way to flow between those visual landmarks and different kinds of food experiences.
I like that, thinking about the geography and linking the food to the sites.
Yeah.
Really efficient.
Exactly. And to quickly find good places to eat, definitely utilize those online review platforms. Look for restaurants with high-star ratings. It'll save you a lot of time and help you avoid any culinary disappointments.
Great tip. Harness the wisdom of the crowd.
Hmm.
What about, like, fitting meals into the overall flow of exploring Shibuya? When's a good time to eat what?
Try to integrate food into your sightseeing. Grab an onigiri from a convenience store for breakfast, or plan to have some yakitori and a drink at an izakaya after you've seen the Shibuya lights at night. It's all part of the experience.
Multitasking with your taste buds. Love it.
Yeah. And one more thing, don't forget about the train stations. They make it super easy to get around Tokyo. If you have some extra time and want to explore food beyond Shibuya, the trains are your best friend.
It sounds like Shibuya is more than just a visual spectacle. It's like a launch pad for a whole Tokyo food adventure.
It is. The concentration of variety and quality in Shibuya is just incredible. It's a perfect starting point for anyone who wants to dive into the world of Japanese cuisine without feeling overwhelmed.
Okay, so for someone who's never been to Tokyo before, and maybe they're a little intimidated by the thought of navigating the food scene, what's the key takeaway about eating in Shibuya? Why should they make it a priority during their trip?
What's so great about Shibuya is that it offers such an exciting, accessible introduction to Japanese food. It really caters to everyone, whether you're looking for a quick bite, a unique street food experience, or a more formal sit-down meal. And trying the local food is more than just eating. It's about experiencing Tokyo's culture, its energy, the passion that goes into the food.
Like, the flavors themselves tell a story about the place.
Precisely. And because it's so easy to find such a variety of food in Shibuya, from ramen shops to onigiri stands, it's a really welcoming place for first-time visitors who want to explore Tokyo's food scene without feeling lost or overwhelmed.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive into the world of food in Shibuya. We've covered so much, from the must-try dishes to practical tips for navigating it all. I'm ready to book a ticket to Tokyo.
It has been quite a culinary journey. Shibuya really is a special place for anyone who loves food, a vibrant, exciting, and delicious introduction to what Tokyo has to offer.
So, to you, our listener, with all this new knowledge about Shibuya's amazing food scene, what will be the first thing you seek out when you get to Tokyo? Imagine yourself there, in the middle of that bustling Shibuya scramble, knowing that just steps away, a whole world of incredible food experiences awaits. What are you most excited to taste? Thanks for diving deep with us today, and we can't wait to have you back for our next exploration.